So you want to play the Glamour Bard. You want to charm the pants off of other creatures and be the top that you never knew you could. Or you want to take a different spin and make a bard, dare I say, that's not as horny as the memes make it out to be. But what if instead of charming, you were intimidating and dabbled in a little illusion magic? Let's explore different character ideas for your Glamour Bard and give you your own Mantle of Inspiration. Hello Acolytes, welcome to the Cleric Corner. My name is Riker and here we talk about all things Dungeons & Dragons, tapping into our higher powers to create worlds more unique and stories more impactful. But before we get started here, I want to give a huge shout out to a longtime friend of the channel, the Dungeon Coach. He just released the biggest project on his channel through Kickstarter, Alcander's Almanac of All Things. This video is not sponsored by him, but I just wanted to promote his work as I think it's incredible and just as a big thank you for helping me with my own YouTube journey. What you will find is a 220-page expansion to D&D 5th edition, including alternate exploration rules, weapon mechanics, mass combat, rest systems, death and resurrection methods, and more. Not to replace all of your current 5e rules, but to mix and match and find better alternatives to a few things that maybe could be a little bit better. I just got my copy myself and I can't wait to implement them. You can find the link to his website linked into the description below. And I think you only have until July 31st to get a hard copy. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dungeon Coach, but hey, time's limited anyways. Now, in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, Glamour Bards take on magical forms from the magic of the Feywild. You can start with a wondrous appearance that gives your allies temporary hit points and free movement. You can then perform for a minute and charm everyone in the immediate vicinity. Next, take on an unearthly beauty that gives you a rapid-fire command spell. Then, at later levels, you use your charm as a ward, messing with others' ability to hit or dodge you. But now that we know what the abilities are, how can we reflavor them to give a unique spin to your character? I hope to enthrall all of you with these next 10 different character concepts. With the Phantasmal Glamour Bard, they use illusions to charm the enemy. Just like the spell Phantasmal Force, it is made to believe in a certain reality or immediate event. The thing is, instead of your bard taking on a form that everyone can see, you take on a form that only they can see because you put it into their mind. In their mind's eye, they see you transform and are immediately influenced by it. Heck, you could have been doing some snooping in the memories beforehand and made yourself look like someone that they knew. Everyone else around is wondering why this person is treating you so differently. But this phantasmal image in their mind could also be a whole reality or landscape, making them believe a certain way, much like Mysterio in the Spider-Man movie would surround people with his illusions. But speaking of schools of magic, you can explore another character concept with the Enchanter. Instead of a bard from a college, you would flavor one much like a wizard from the enchantment school. Instead of a 1-minute performance to charm people, it would be a 1-minute ritual, perhaps complete with a glyph circle and components. Perhaps the enemy thinks that you're trying to cast a healing spell or something to help them rather than hinder them, or something more creative to help them not be weary of the actions that you're taking. Maybe a kind DM might waive the requirement for some people to actually have to watch the entire time, so if you do it successfully in a crowd, you may have sneakily gotten away with the ritual. Some of your mantle abilities could also work with the Abjuration School of Magic that deals with defensive spells. Perhaps you are a double major. But another form of magic is outside the normal 8 schools of magic, would be Potions class. The Love Potion is pretty self-explanatory, as your charming abilities are something that you can make inside a bottle. Your speciality is fast-acting splash potions, as you quickly throw a few ingredients together into a vial, shake it up, and then slam it into the ground with a puff of pink smoke. You can even flavor many of your spells this way if you do. Your mantles being replaced by specific potion concoctions. Perhaps you lock yourself in a room with a noble for 1 minute to mix an enthralling performance splash potion to charm them before the guards break down the door. And if you really want to play matchmaker, maybe your fellow players would allow you to mess with their characters from time to time, of course if you see a good ship. But something to note is that the Glamour Bard doesn't just have one transformation that they undergo, they actually have 3. A wondrous appearance, an unearthly beauty, and a majestic presence. Each of them doing different things as you earn each one as you level up. So with the triple threat, we look at the 3-form idea. Some other subclasses with 3 forms might include the Totem Barbarian or the Stars Druid. Perhaps you have totems of a horse and a butterfly that charms people, or you undergo a starry form like the constellation Cassiopeia. Take some inspiration from monsters like the Chimera, your snake form, your goat form, and your lion form, or be the living representation of the Sphinx riddle with 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evening. You could also be collecting these forms as you go, like an Eladrin that only is in one form of summer, and in order to get their form of spring, fall, and winter, they must adventure for them. Get 3 Kitsune tails for each form like Naruto, or 3 Pokemon evolutions. Obviously, I'm just spitballing here, but just have some fun and get creative. But on the lines of different forms, let's explore a few races that also have different transformations. With the Lineage, we see races like the Aasimar with a celestial transformation. Perhaps your charm is more of a divine, awe-inspiring visage. Another one would be the Shifter, be a lichen of a beautiful animal that causes people to stare. Or a Changeling, the epitome of transformation. Transform into the essence of beauty, or whatever the beauty is to the eye of the beholder. Again, you could do some mind reading or research beforehand to make yourself look like a loved one. This could also work with races that have less of a transformation and more of the charm baked in, be it a vampire with the Dampier or a hag with the Hexblood. In these cases, your charm coming from a monstrous lineage. But let's continue on that route. With the monster, your blood can come from sirens or harpies that have magic backing up their performances of song. Learn different songs as you level up with your 3 forms. You could also learn hypnosis ability from Kelpies, or how to mimic the voices of other people's loved ones like a hag, a cackler, or a kenku, or be a campestry-based myconid. There are many examples in folklore about strange, familiar voices luring people to their deaths. And these abilities could also come from an incubus or a succubus. Charm them with a kiss and a temptation. But of course, you don't need to be evil if you come from like an evil hag background. Take inspiration from the movie Nanny McPhee. I'm not sure how obscure this movie reference is, but think of a hag inspired by Mary Poppins if you haven't seen it. But in the movie, as she helps the children, she slowly loses her large nose and warts. Perhaps as you help others, your visage is changed in a similar way. But there are also monsters in the real world that take on forms to lure and fool mankind. With the Cryptid, take inspiration from these creatures as well. We have the Jorogumo, a goblin in Japanese culture that transforms into a beautiful woman. Good thing the goblin race is an option. But this Jorogumo can also be a half-spider woman, so tie in the drow. If you take inspiration from the Sehuinaba, a Central American spirit that reveals themselves as a beautiful woman as they lure people into danger, but revealing their horse-like or skull-like head at the very last second. Similarly deceived, people who follow deer women into the forest from Native American culture might find their head stomped on by their hooves. But these cryptids don't always have to be in feminine forms. The Encantados from the Amazon are essentially masculine were-dolphins. There are endless cryptid and folkloric stories, so go find some fun ones. But let's go even bigger. With the Glamour Bard, you normally get magic from the Feywild, the plane of Fey, but what if you were the Fey? The Archfey. In other videos, I've talked about how being a celestial could work, falling to earth and losing some of your power, so why couldn't that work with Archfeys as well? Perhaps when they transferred from the Feywild to the material plane, they forgot everything. They forgot who they were, what power they held, or their power is literally weakened in a world where no one upholds their court. Maybe in that case, you remember everything, and you constantly talk about how good you had it when you were royalty within the Feywild. On the other end of the spectrum, let's say that you are just a regular adventurer, but your normalist is inspiring. The Himbo charms people not on purpose, but other people can't help but admire them and see their heart as they wear it on their sleeve. They charm people with their bulging muscles, idiotic ambition, and heroic attitude. They give 1-minute speeches that, while a little egotistical, is still very charming. I also have a Path of the Charmer Barbarian that hones in on this trope on my website, which you can check through the link in the description. But personally, I think Himbos can be swordsmen and spellcasters. Himbo is more of a way of life rather than an occupation. But another type of adventurer prefers to use their charisma not to persuade or deceive, but to intimidate. With the Intimidator, they don't use sweet words to trick people into doing what they want. Instead, they use force by threats to do so, but a threat backed by charismatic magic. A bit of a bossy character that can maybe benefit a party with no leader, but they know what they want and they won't take no for an answer. But this character might take on scary forms as well, be it a mask, or a unique use of the thaumaturgy cantrip, or some other magical phenomena to make them a little more scary. And at higher levels, their intimidation makes people think twice about attacking them. So let me know how you would flavor the Glamour Bard. Comment anything that you feel that I've missed. Hopefully we can continue to build new ideas together and stretch our creative wings. If you want to check out other concept videos for other subclasses, check this playlist here. But in the meantime, go out there and spread the good word of D&D and make the world a better place, both on and off your tables. See you in the next one.